Hey, this is Brett the Hitman Hart. The best there is, best there was, and the best there ever will be. And you're listening to the Smacked Raw podcast.
Hey folks, welcome to the Smack Draw Podcast, your one-stop shop for all your WWE and AEW recaps, reviews, pay-per-view predictions. As always, it's Kyle over here. Joining me today, it is the AJ Styles of podcast and Sebastian. What's going on, bud?
Dude, I have never, ever been more ready for a weekend. How are you, Kyle?
I'm doing good. Long week?
Oh, it has. I'm so glad it's Friday.
I hear you, man. Listen, folks, we are a pro wrestling podcast. If you're first-time listeners, thank you for joining us. You can listen to us on Spotify, Podbean, Stitcher Radio, iTunes, and Google Play Music. Of course, we are on YouTube. Make sure to hop on over there. Hit the like and subscribe button. Help us get to that 100 subscribers mark and get that custom URL that we have been chasing after for a very long time.
We get to see Benji in some face paint. It'd be all great.
I know. I don't even know if he remembers that.
He remembers. He remembers.
Yes. We also are on Twitter. You can hit us up over there. You can hit the channel up at SmackDrawPod, myself at The Kai Tai Show, and of course, Sebastian at WrestlingFan_32. We're rounding out a week of wrestling. Raw is down, AEW is down, NXT is down, and here we are at Friday Night SmackDown, the go-home show for the controversial Crown Jewel event taking place in, I think it's Riyadh? I don't know, man. I really don't follow these Saudi Arabia shows.
Man, Saudi Arabia, I was thinking it was in like Minnesota or something.
Oh, jeez.
Maybe that's what.
Maybe. Who knows? Yeah,
Makes sense now, and everybody hates it.
Yeah. Not too many people are on ball with that event. But anyways, we're not really here to talk about that. We're here to talk about Friday Night SmackDown, taking place in Kansas City, Missouri. So far, I know you missed a little bit of the show. I got to tell you, man, it was an enjoyable show for me. It progressed quite a bit of story, I believe. But looking back, there was next to no wrestling. I hate to say it, I'm glad Rob's not on the show because it would have given him PTSD of when he attended their go-home show in Detroit, when he had the pleasure of being live for that one. Go ahead.
That's the norm anymore for go-home shows, man.
I know.
It really is.
No real wrestling. Let me see here. Let me count really quick in my notes how many matches we had compared to how long they were. So we had 1, 2, 3, 4. So we had 5 matches, it looks like, in a 2-hour span. However, the first 3 matches were all done in a matter of like 1 or 2 minutes. They were just nothing. We didn't actually get a match that had some length to it till Nikki Cross faced Mandy Rose. And then, of course, we had our main event, which was actually set up in the opening segment of the show.
That's a fun main event, though.
It was, absolutely. Think WWE is paying attention, maybe? I don't know. We'll see. We'll get into it. So the show opens once again from Kansas City, Missouri. We get a Miz TV segment. We get a little bite-sized taste of the Hulk Hogan versus Flair 5-on-5 tag match that's taking place at Crown Jewel. Joining Hogan's side, we have Roman Reigns, Ali, and the newly named Shorty G, along with Jimmy Hart in tow. Ric Flair is there representing his team. Flanking him is Nakamura and King Corbin, but also Sami Zayne, who is a non-participant in the match.
I'm just glad they didn't go with the instinct they have for an excuse to bring the Raw guys over. I'm glad they kept it all SmackDown.
Yep.
And then use this as oh, well, it's Team Hogan, Team Flair. We can do this one night. No,
Yeah.
I was happy with it.
Raw stays on Raw, SmackDown stayed on SmackDown. They made it work. I will say one thing: the segment as a whole was honestly was fairly flat for me. The banter, the insults, everything was pretty cheap. I did actually pop. Hogan got booed. Like, that's the loudest I've heard Hogan get booed so far. I'm sure the other places have booed him. I just assume WWE mutes it. But yeah, the moment Hogan got on the mic, there was like a quick jolt of the crowd booing him, and then they settled down, or WWE hit the mute button. I don't know which one it was. But yeah, there was an initial set of boos for him when he hopped on the mic. The insults were thrown back and forth. Nothing too crazy. Nothing that stands out. Hogan suggests a 3 versus 3 tag match for the main event. Sami Zayn then claims he will think about it. Him and his team leave. As they leave, Hogan runs down all three with some cheap insults once again while they're on the ramp. So Sammy accepts on his team's behalf. But it won't be Sammy competing. Who will be the mystery man standing in for him? None other than the Swiss Superman Cesaro. He comes out, and instead of like, hey, I'm joining up with my team, he just pops his mouthpiece in, takes off after Hogan's team, and we get a brawl. The only thing here, though, that and the brawl ended with the faces standing tall, and the main event is set up for the 3-on-3. Cesaro, Nakamura, and King Corbin taking on Ali, Shorty G, and Roman Reigns. The only thing here that was like, beside, like, it's weird. I'm using the word awkward loosely because Hogan's just awkward nowadays. But how did Cesaro know to come out? The match was created impromptu, like right there on the spot, and Sami Zayn was like, well, actually, it won't be me. It's going to be this guy. Like, how did anyone in the back was like, oh, yeah, I'm going to replace him.
Thank God Cesaro wasn't in Gorilla, dude. He was back here talking to Vince
he was having
his match.
Yeah.
He's talking to Vince about his match with Mansoor, Crown Jewel, and he just happened to be there.
Yeah, that's what it was. It was just chatting away. Oh, my gosh. I don't know, man. I don't know. It was funny, though.
Thank God R-Truth or somebody wasn't there. I actually wish R-Truth would have came out. Me? And then Sammy would be like, no, not you. That'd have been a little throwback to, what was it, Money in the Bank? He did that a few years ago. And it was like, R-Truth, you're not even in the match. He's like,
I love that.
Bad.
Yeah. That's like one of my favorite R-Truth segments of all time. I'm a little late to the slide here. I just threw the slide up, everybody. And I just realized my webcam, like, I'm blocking King Corbin and Sami Zayn, and you are cutting out Jimmy Hart. Luckily, Shorty G and Ali aren't the tallest fellas. They still make it into the screen.
Well, yeah, Shorty G's short, man.
Yeah, Jesus Christ.
Thanks, you heard?
So before the commercial, it's announced that New Day will be taking on Rude and Ziggler, and I get probably the funniest clip of the night. It is the New Day walking down the hall, and they got their boy Xavier Woods on an iPad via FaceTime. So they still managed to get him on the screen, man. Oh, it was hilarious.
Man, that sucks. He's out for a year.
Yeah.
It came out today. It'll be a whole year.
An Achilles tear, man, is no joke. It's super painful too. Oh my God, it sounds like a gun going off.
Pretty much what ended Kobe's career. I mean, that's not something that.
Yeah.
That was the last major injury he had before he had to slow down a lot. So.
Yep, it ain't no joke, man. It ain't no joke. So we do get the New Day taking on the team of Rude and Ziggler, and so this is the first of the 3 very short matches. I swear, I looked down at the computer trying to get like this picture set up for today's stream, and within moments, looked like Kofi got rolled up by Ziggler for the loss. It just seemingly out of nowhere. So there was really nothing to go by. You can't really judge the match quality considering it was over before it really began. And as Rude and Ziggler are celebrating, Out comes Revival to attack the New Day. They are followed, however, by Heavy Machinery. And while B-Team and Lucha House Party can be seen watching everything on monitors backstage, we just get like a wild and crazy tag team brawl.
B-Team's like, I don't want no part of it.
Heck no, they don't, man.
I wonder, though, with Xavier's injury, you got to wonder on how long Big E and Kofi's going to remain New Day. I wonder if they're going to use this as an excuse to...
I would say it could be a catalyst for a heel turn on either of their part. It's still a coin flip. Who would turn on who? Because you wouldn't believe that they would just mutually split up, obviously.
No, somebody's going to turn.
Yeah.
If it was to happen. I mean, New Day might be at one group that never does it, but I'm just saying that, this could be a good reason to do it if it was on their mind beforehand, at least.
It's hard to make that jump, though, because they're still very, very popular. And from what I gather, they're still heavy merchandise sellers. And, you don't necessarily want to tear apart something that is a big part of your revenue. You hate to put it, like you'd sacrifice the quality of the content in favor of money, but...
And something else, too, that could be, what was the plans really for Kofi right now? Like, if the plan was to keep them together, you could have had Big E and Xavier tag team work and Kofi have single feuds. Well, that option's not there no more. So if you want to keep Kofi as a singles guy, then that'll have to soon. Or he's going to be relegated right back into that tag division. And I don't know if that's something new.
Yeah, you'd like to see something major. Like, I don't know. Like, I could picture Kofi. See, with Kofi, you'd have to do something very character-driven. You can't keep the same character and just, collect himself and chase after, like, another belt or something. I would want to see, like, it trigger a character change, Or, like I said, you use the opposite. The fearless leader has finally fallen in the face of the New Day, and it's time for the next person to step up. Xavier Woods is injured, so that goes to Big E. It's Big E's time in the spotlight, And either there's resentment or you use it as like a heel turn, So it's hard to say. I definitely am ready to see Big E get his due, though. I fear for it because you have guys that seem like obvious world champions and they never get to it. Like, look at Rusev. At one point, you just knew Rusev was meant for like the Universal title or WWE title, and then he just drifted away from it. And the same thing with Braun Strowman, another guy that seemed like an obvious world champion, and for whatever reason, he gets taken out. And I'd hate to see that for Big E because he's got a ton to offer. But you never know. You never know, man.
And they kind of dabbled into Rusev, but they waited till it was too late.
Yeah.
I mean, he had the match with AJ, the pay-per-view match for the title. It was just too late at that point, I think. They should have tried to capitalize on it a lot sooner than they had.
During his feud with John Cena, that should have got him to the world title. Coming out at WrestleMania on a tank, he should have just beat John Cena and then gone on, but it's just another case of a guy who just hit a wall when he ran into Cena, back in the day.
Well, even if you don't do it, then you could have still did it, like when the Rusev Day was at its biggest.
True. That was the next chance to capitalize.
Yeah, and they did during the Rusev Day, but it was near the end. It wasn't.
Who was a more viable champion, though? The Monster Rusev or the Rusev Day who's over with the crowd?
It depends on what you're going for. I mean...
Personally, I think Monster Rusev, just because he was more threatening.
I'm trying to think of what the landscape was back in there. Just who I was on a roster, I guess. Which way you could play.
Monster Rusev was like, what, 2015, 2016?
Yeah.
I mean, you still...
So there's a few pieces there. But, yeah, probably Monster, I would say. But.
Yeah. I think Monster, yeah. But, yeah. The next up, we had a promo, Tyson Fury taking on Braun Strowman. Cool little tidbit here. I don't know if this was released on other platforms, but it showed Tyson. I keep wanting to say Nick Fury. Tyson Fury in the Performance Center training, and while he's running the ropes, he gets shoulder tackled by Braun Strowman. So nice.
That was on YouTube.
That was on YouTube. I figured as much, but yeah. So that was a nice.
Why did he say an ankle?
He said he tweaked his ankle, man.
Well, yeah, you got shoulder tackle. Oh, you should be
grabbing his leg.
Selling a shoulder. Sell a shoulder. You got shoulder tackle.
I know. I don't know, man. You know that's what they're gonna do, though. That's gonna be the crutch they'll lean on the match. Is Fury's gonna have a hard time getting around. But anyways, Lacey Evans taking on the local talent Cameron Connors up next. This was awkward. Okay, so this was. I didn't hate it, but now in hindsight, yeah, this is pretty bad. Lacey comes out. She hops on the mic, claims that she's not going to compete against this nasty, and that the fans don't deserve to see her compete, all of that. She instead is going to turn and catwalk her way to the back, which I thought that would be it. But she then motions to the ref, tells him to ring the bell, and so instead of opting to not compete, she's opting to just lose, and that's awkward. I've seen plenty of wrestlers say they refuse to compete. I've never seen one say they'll take an intentional L unless they're trying to get out of a title defense and they're trying to get disqualified or something.
This is not AEW. Wins and losses don't matter.
I know. It was just weird, man. It was just weird, but it served its purpose. It was so she walks out. The ref starts counting her out of the ring. He gets up to like 7 or 8, and it dawns on Cameron Connors that she might win. She starts celebrating and turns her back. At that point, Lacey Evans bum rushes the ring, delivers a women's right, and proves why you never turn your back on the sassy Southern Belle. She picks up the win.
It's different.
Funny. It was different. Got a quick little tidbit. Nikki Cross is being interviewed backstage remotely by Michael Cole, who's still at commentary. Pretty much just says that she's excited for her match against Mandy Rose later on. And then we cut to the funnest segment of the night, in my opinion, the Firefly Funhouse. It has made its return after being off television for just 1 week. And we are presented the funeral for Ramblin' Rabbit, man. This was funny, bro. This was good. This is good stuff.
I watched WWE backstage before we started recording, and they brought this up.
You're like, did it come back too quick?
No, and by the way, if you thought this show was going to be all kayfabe, you're wrong.
Yeah.
It's not all kayfabe. Booker T cracked me up. He's like, seriously, Renee? How long do you think it took to rebuild Firefly Funhouse? There's a table, there's pictures, and there's a little bit of cardboard. I can do it in a couple hours. All right? Booker had me rolling.
I can't wait to watch that show, man. Yeah, I can't wait.
Oh, man. But yeah, if you thought that show was going to be all kayfabe, and that's why you didn't want to watch it, give it a listen, because it's not.
Yeah, I do. I want to see. There's a lot of just so much content now, man, to consume. And then we're creating a ton of content. We create content too, you know. Maybe I'll have more time once we get you set up. You get that Ethernet cable yet?
I'm gonna try to get it tomorrow.
Yeah, get the Ethernet cable. Get you a little mouse. Get you set up. Get you hosting, man. Learn the tricks of the trade. Leave it down in the comments how excited you guys are to hear Sebastian host. All right. What were we saying? I had a good hook for Friday Night Sebastian. I can't remember now. Sebastian Saturdays. I don't know. I've lost it.
It's gone.
Yeah, it's gone, man. Anyways,
if you think you have a good name, leave it in the comment section because Kyle forgot his.
Yeah. Sorry, I don't write down everything. Okay, I take plenty of notes. I forgot to take this one. Oh man. SmackDown Sebastian or Sebastian SmackDown. Yeah, something like that. I just played off those two words. Okay. But anyways.
We're a little off the track here, folks.
I'm telling you. Anyways, yeah, Bray spent the last few weeks rebuilding his Firefly Funhouse. Not everybody was okay, though. We are at a funeral for the Ramblin' Rabbit. Seth Rollins' attack. The only person ended up hurting was his biggest fan. Go figure. Good job, Seth. And remind me again why Bray's the heel. Oh, yeah, because he jumps
Because
people.
he's a demon.
He's a demon, and he just attacks people for no reason. I forgot that.
He drags people to hell, Kyle. Good people don't drag people to hell. Unless you're the Undertaker.
Yeah, man, he's good. He's all right. Yeah, so the puppets get a chance to speak on Ramblin' Rabbit's behalf. I like Mercy the Buzzard said Ramblin' tastes good. And then
Made a good dinner.
Yeah, and then what's the witch's name? Abby the witch said Ramblin'.
Yeah.
He talks too much. And then Huskus the pig said he introduced him to cake. Rabbit had an influence. Ramblin' had an influence on everybody. The segment turns pretty dark though, because Bray Wyatt says Ramblin' Rabbit wanted an open casket, and when he opens it, the puppet has got like a gory head wound. Like half this head is caved in, but it shows gore, like presumably like brains and blood and stuff. And it was the weirdest thing. Bray lifted up the corpse, gave it a kiss. We hear a little bit of murmuring. He sets the corpse down, and poof, Ramblin' Rabbit is back and alive, man. So everybody, you heard the crowd cheer. Ramblin' Rabbit, besides Bray Wyatt, is the most over member of the Firefly Funhouse.
He used the heel hand. Did you pick that up when he picked him up?
Oh, I missed that. Damn it.
Yeah.
Damn.
When he picked him up from the casket, he used the heel glove.
Oh, this is so good.
And the camera was painting on that hand the entire time to make it,
To make it obvious, and my dumb butt missed it.
You was just enjoying the show.
I really was, man. I really was. Yeah, Ramblin' Rabbit comes back. He describes what it was like to die, but in the middle of his description, Mercy the Buzzard ends up scooping him up and eats him and kills him all over again. That's how far.
We got the heel hand, dude.
You got the heel hand. Yeah, so if it wasn't official by now, it is definitely official. Ramblin' Rabbit is WWE's take on Kenny from South Park. That's gonna be their shtick going forward. He's gonna die on every episode, one way or another. Mark my words. There's gonna be less weeks of him surviving than him dying on Firefly Funhouse. They're gonna. That's where the creative's gonna go, and I'm all for it. Because then you can take the focus off of Bray coming up with like cryptic promos every week, trying to stay original and relevant, and you can kind of transition the focus onto the shtick with the puppet, and take some of the pressure off Bray's character. So I think that could work, man. I'm pretty optimistic for it. Whereas if you quote me on a couple shows back, I was saying that we're overexposed to the Firefly Funhouse. So
I'm still waiting on him to cook Husky. Like I'm shocked we have not got a cook.
Yeah, Huskus. Yeah.
Oh, that's for Thanksgiving. I don't see him making it past Thanksgiving.
You think so? Do you have a
Be
Thanksgiving?
perfect, dude.
You have a Christmas ham. You don't really eat ham on Thanksgiving, though, do you?
Ham's on the table. It's just not the main course.
Yeah, it's all about the turkey.
But there's still ham. Okay,
He
don't like it past Christmas. How about that?
Yeah. Are you a white meat or a dark meat kind of guy?
It depends on how. I don't like it dry. I can eat either one of them. I just don't like it real dry.
Yeah, that's the worst part about Thanksgiving. The leftovers are typically dry. I'm a white meat person. I like my turkey. I like the white meat and the turkey more.
Yeah, I'm less picky about that. I just like it a little moist.
Yeah. You eat cranberry sauce?
Yes, I like cranberry sauce.
Oh man, me too. I eat we get the canned style. So it's already in like a cylinder, and you just cut it into slices, man. Been eating that.
Depends on what We have so much family. It depends on what. We usually have like 3 or 4 a year.
Yeah.
So it depends on what house we're at. Some of them's homemade, some of it's canned, but I can eat either. Both of them's great.
Man, I've had canned since I was a freaking kid, man. It's weird. It's like the only canned food I'm excited for. I don't know if I've ever had homemade. I don't think I ever had, man. I think I've had canned my whole life.
Nothing wrong with it, dude. That's great.
No, man.
That's great.
No, man. You watch football, right? You watch the game?
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Watch some football.
Every Sunday.
Man, it's a matter of if I can stay awake during it, man. I always overdo it. Just pass out.
I eat a lot.
Yeah.
We went to Gayland today. I took my daughter. I'm gonna have a daughter plug like Rob here. I took my daughter to a play date today, and we went to Gayland. It's kind of like just a bigger version of Chuck E. Cheese, I guess. If you don't know what a Gayland is, I don't know where.
Yeah, I didn't know either, man. To be honest,
Okay, it's like a lot bigger version of Chuck E. Cheese. Big old game room, huge buffet of pizza and stuff. I ate like 13 pieces of pizza today. So.
Oh my god!
I ate a lot, dude.
Well, you're a big fella, ain't you? Aren't you pretty tall?
No, I'm about 5'10", about 190 pounds.
Oh.
So I'm not really, I'm not oversized in either way, but yeah, I can eat a lot.
You're like Men's Warehouse picture that we have up here on the stream. It seems like it adds some height to you. You look pretty tall, man. I don't know if it's the backdrop. You got good stature in the picture. You got your shoulder.
I've been this tall since 8th grade. I have not grown an inch since 8th grade.
Oh, okay. Well, let's get back to the show. Following the Firefly Funhouse, we got a Drew Gulak match. So you got him here pointing out his PowerPoint presentation. Yeah, Gulak. So I'm happy he's getting shine 2 weeks in a row, but like, man, I wanted him to be taken as a threat, not as like the comedy guy that gets beat up. Because that's surely his role going forward. He'll get the crowd to laugh. The crowd will like him for a while, but his shtick is he's going to get beat up. He's going to bring out the PowerPoint presentation. He's going to get beat up one way or another, and he's going to lose a lot, man. I just see it.
I didn't take it really as that. I mean, really, he had Kalisto pretty good. He even had him set up for his finisher.
That Alabama slam was mean. He hit him with a pretty gnarly Alabama slam. I ain't gonna lie.
So, I mean, as far as his match against Kalisto, he had the advantage, but Braun's Braun.
Braun is Braun.
So, as long as it's having to do with someone like Braun or even I guess a Roman or something, sure, have him lose maybe if it makes sense that way, but just make it make sense. Don't have him job out to Bo Dallas or anything like that.
Yeah, that's what I fear, but we'll see. I mean, we're 2 weeks in. Jumping to conclusions here. I don't. It's hard to have faith in WWE to bring in smaller guys and treat them respectfully. And then on top of that, what he has working against him is I'm pretty sure Vince McMahon is the guy who came up with the PowerPoint stuff back in 2005, and so he's just rehashing the old stuff. I could be wrong here. This is speculation, but
there was a little pop though when he brought up the PowerPoints.
Yeah, and he's gonna be good for that pop. I just want to see him as a threat, man. I wanted to see him, going for the tag titles or going for the United States title. I don't care if Intercontinental and World Championship obviously is out of his grasp and out of the conversation, but I'd like him to actually be a presence. But I mean, hey, listen, we're 2 weeks in. I'm just nervous for him because I'm actually a big fan of his. And
I am too. I love him.
Yeah. So, and I just want to see good for Gulak, man. Justice for Gulak. That's all. That's all it is. So the match, before the match kicks off against Kalisto from Lucha House Party, Gulak says, I want to pick up where I left off last week, and that's with my PowerPoint presentation. He shows us slide. He's revised it it is now ways Braun Strowman can lose his match against Tyson Fury. And he motions, and you got the picture, Tyson Fury punching Braun Strowman, laying him out. Before we can get to slide 2, though, Kalisto's had enough. He attacks him. Like we mentioned, Gulak gets his offense in. Before, though, he can put him away, Strowman's music hits. Gulak is distracted, and Kalisto hits him with a Selena del Sol for the victory. Braun runs in the ring, just hoists him up like backwards. It's like Gulak is on his back, and Strowman picks him up from his shoulders with his face facing up and kind of like backflips him up onto his shoulder just to hit him with the running power slam. The crowd, listen, man, this is funny. The crowd started cheering one more time, and Strowman obliged. Now, I believe that was called on the spot, and on Twitter, before the night was over, Gulak, the WWE Twitter handle had retweeted Gulak's tweet, and his tweet was one more time. And it was just like, I was like, oh, poor Gulak. I hit him up, man. I told him, I was like, hey, look, man, I feel for you, bro. You can send me your PowerPoint presentation. I'll look it over for you. He has not hit me back up, though, unfortunately.
I feel like I was caught on the spot, too, though, because Braun looked like he was about to start his promo, and he just dropped the mic.
Yeah, he dropped the mic. Yeah.
So, by the way, this is kind of related, I guess, since we're talking about Tyson Fury, and it's not exactly wrestling. You want to know how Jack Hager's MMA fight finished?
I saw that. Yeah. So a couple things about that. We'll jump on that. His entrance has the "We the People."
We the people. Yes.
They didn't
Jericho,
have.
Oh man.
So Jericho is got to call out Bellator now. He made his. I'll give him one thing though. He made his entrance in his Inner Circle shirt. So
he did.
He's wearing his wrestling merch. That's pretty cool. But yeah. Unfortunately, he's still undefeated, folks. He's technically undefeated.
But he needs somebody right in the groin, and then
they stopped the fight. Guy couldn't continue.
Oh.
You don't see too many fights actually stop via groin strike. But homeboy didn't want no more. Yeah,
it did look like a good knee. I probably wouldn't have got up there.
No, dude, that dude's probably still out. But Hager remains undefeated, and unfortunately, JR would chime in though, like you don't want a no contest. It's like kissing your sister.
Oh my god!
I wonder if there's no way AEW references this, do they?
No, I don't. I mean, I don't know how they could after you called him the most feared.
They could
man
be
in
coy and they can still get by with saying he's undefeated.
Yeah, I don't know if they could really say most feared person in MMA after that. So I don't know.
Well, like I was saying, AEW is really playing like twisting. Jake Hager fought 2 bums. These guys are like meat packing plant guys. Either like only had like 2 or 3 fights ever. These guys are not athletes by no means. Like they've put him the first 2. I don't know anything about the third opponent, but the first 2 opponents in the boxing world, they refer to him as cans. He
has one last ball now. I can tell you that.
Oh Jesus Christ, man! I'm telling you. But yeah, his opponents have not been threatening by no means. Now, granted, in MMA, you can start up a whole argument. Anything can happen. Anyone's got a puncher's chance. I know, but just trust me. Hager's skills are legit. Like, he is a legit athlete. He's a legit killer in the wrestling world. I don't even mean pro wrestling. I'm talking amateur wrestling. These guys, even in their individual accomplishments, never accomplished anything like Hager has. You know, so he was the clear. They were squash matches. They were set up squash matches in MMA. But AEW's playing it up, man. They're playing it up like he's a legit killer and he's really feared. Like he has not faced any legitimate threat yet. And they probably won't, man. They probably won't do it for a long time. Bellator is known for setting up one-sided fights. Granted, you can't fix fights, but you can definitely put guys in there with other guys who are like way outside their league, and it's damn near pro wrestling. You can pretty much create real squash matches still. I'm sorry, man. I feel really passionate about this. When you start merging pro wrestling and MMA, these are like my two things that I follow heavier than anything else.
Keep going, dude.
No, that's really it. That's really it. After that, I'd just be talking in circles. Yeah. So what? Well, yeah. Strowman hops on the mic, tells Fury he's going to get these hands at Crown Jewel. We cut backstage, and we get a preview of WWE Backstage, which is following SmackDown immediately. Their guest is going to be Finn Balor. He will be the first active wrestler that they interview on the show. Following that, we get hold on one second. What's going on over here? Oh, yeah. Sorry, my notes got mixed up here for a second. Yeah, following that, we got an interview with Michael Cole in the ring interviewing Daniel Bryan. This has got me hot, bro, like in a good way. They might be onto something, man. Like, for real. So Cole is asking Bryan, is the Yes Movement back? And you really could recede into the good guy persona, get the cheap pops from the crowd, but it would be hollow. You know what I mean? Especially coming from the character Daniel Bryan just portrayed. To go back on all of that is like going against his values. And Sami Zayn called it to a T. Because before Daniel Bryan could say the Yes chant is back or anything like that, which he looked dejected anyways. He didn't look eager to answer it. Sami Zayn comes out with Nakamura. Zayn says, hey, listen, Nakamura doesn't take the loss personally. In fact, he's impressed. He's respectful, all of that. And Zayn rolls the footage of when Daniel Bryan was champ, and he proclaimed that the old Daniel Bryan is dead. Yes Movement is dead. Introduces the new Eco Warrior, the new Daniel Bryan persona, and Zayn calls him and says, "That's the real Bryan," And he starts making the most sense I've ever heard a heel make. And essentially, he just breaks it down like, don't go backwards, move forward, continue fighting for planet Earth, continue your eco ways, because guess what? I'm vegan, and Nakamura is against, like the whole factory farming BS that's destroying the planet. Like, we are your people. Like, we are into that stuff, and they seemed, and Zayn seemed genuine. He didn't seem like he was trying to be coy and fake Daniel Bryan out, man. And he asked Bryan to join him, and he extended his hand. And Daniel Bryan, he can't join up on just a handshake. You can't have his heel turn again just over like a limp handshake. So Bryan does not offer any answer. He instead just walks out the ring like he's got some time and some stuff he needs to think about. And damn it, dude, Daniel Bryan needs to join Sami Zayn's faction. Like, yes, absolutely. What are your thoughts on this?
It's good. It's probably the best segment of the night, just as far as character development and things to make you want to tune in next week. Things like that. As far as should he turn heel, should he not? Probably, I would say he should. I mean, on SmackDown, the baby faces right now taking him out is Roman, Braun, Miz, Ali, Gable.
Mm-hmm.
Heels, Brock, which won't be on all the time.
Corbin.
Nakamura, Corbin, Elias, Cesaro.
Elias ain't there. Cesaro's a non-threat.
So, yeah, I would guess you could say they need him more as a heel right now. So,
not to mention that, there's more depth to him as his heel persona.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Him as a face by this point just feels like a shill. Like, when he was a face beforehand, it's because he was the underdog. You know what I mean? He's no longer an underdog. Like, he's a legitimate, one of the best wrestlers on the planet. No one considers him an underdog anymore. No one considers him a B-plus player, you know? So
I mean, his heel turn last year was just tremendous.
Perfect.
And he's done some tremendous stuff since. His character has so many more layers. It's not just repetitive. Yeah, I would. As far as just Bryan himself, he needs to be a heel, in my opinion.
yeah, like, and I don't even like the most face I could see him is as a tweener. You know what I mean? Just doing his thing for him. He can attack heels, he can attack faces, but the whole like yes movement, I kind of agree. It does need to die. Like it's just a relic of the past at this point. It's not.
I feel like if Rob was on here, he'd jump for your mic and cue you.
I know he would. I know Rob disagrees, but a lot of what Rob likes is nostalgia. You know, he likes to see stuff that reminds him of wrestling's past. You know, and more be it. I mean, yeah, not every fan should be the same. So good for Rob. But really, the yes movement is a thing of the past. It was encouraged to get attention on a guy that could not get attention. Well, that man has been under the spotlight now for years. He has no problem getting attention. You know, the yes chant is just that. It's just a type of chant. They use it in more segments without Daniel Bryan than they do with Daniel Bryan. You know? Yeah. So there really is no call for a yes movement anymore. So it doesn't make sense from a storytelling point of view. It would just be, it feels like I'm throwing like backhanded shit at Rob here, but it really would be just a cheap way to get nostalgic fans to cheer, to just get cheap face heat. It'd be hollow.
I feel like Bryan would just be running in circles. Like, I don't know where over and just chanting yes he would go. Yeah, you could put a belt on him. I mean, it's still going to be the same thing every week. He's just going to go out there and chant yes.
No, like, at most he could be a tweener. You know what I mean? And fight heels because he's a fighting guy. But he doesn't need to play to the crowd no more. He doesn't need to please the people. He's above the people, man. He is. He needs to join up with Zayne and Nakamura like yesterday. And that would be such an awesome dynamic in that faction. And I'm all just for factions, you know. Yeah, man, get some more factions going in here, man. You guys have like 400 effing wrestlers on your roster, man. Go ahead and put some of them in some damn groups. But yeah, definitely that is like probably the biggest story development that has nothing to do with Crown Jewel. So that's an A+ segment from me. Next up, we got Nikki Cross versus Mandy Rose. But if you're watching YouTube, my slide is of Sasha Banks and Bayley because that's where all of the damn attention was. And the camera work was. Like, there was almost little to no attention over the match. Do you remember that Nikki Cross is the number one contender for the SmackDown Women's? Not me. It seemed like just another match. Like,
yeah, she won 6 man. Or 6 women, I should say.
Yeah, but like, I hate to say it, man, but so this is where I just went from one segment disagreeing with Rob to another segment where I completely agree with him. Nikki Cross ain't even gonna get close to that title, man. She is just.
But at the same time, no matter who won that match last week, they wasn't sniffing that title.
Yeah, I don't know who else was it. You had Carmella, you had Lacey Evans, you had Nikki Cross. Mandy Rose. Sonya Deville wasn't in the match, right? Or she was?
No, Sonya was. Yes, she was. Yes.
Who was the sixth girl?
Dana
Brooke. Oh, poor Dana. She's gone again.
I mean, Bayley just off this heel turn. Nobody's touching that title for a while unless it's Sasha down the road. I mean, that's just how it is. Unless Ronda Rousey wants to come back, then that's a.
Oh Jesus, yeah! Look out, Bayley, if Ronda comes back. Yep. No, Ronda would make a beeline for Becky Lynch. Ain't no way. Well, they're not gonna pass on that.
Storyline, but I mean, you'd think that Fox would want Rousey. So,
yeah. Everybody would want Rousey though. But yeah, so
yeah, but Fox is gonna get what Fox mainly wants. They're paying $2 billion. I mean,
yeah, that is you're not wrong there.
I mean, they've been fair with USA so far with the brand split and everything, but I'm pretty sure if Fox really wanted something, Fox is getting whatever it is.
Yeah. Yeah, so the match was once again Nikki Cross taking on Mandy Rose with Sonya Deville on the outside. You had Sasha Banks and Bayley on commentary. Commentary really distracted from the match. I'm not like, and it's one of my biggest pet peeves is when you can't tune out commentary. It's just overwhelming, and that's really what it was. And it was just the commentators grilling Bayley if she respected Nikki Cross, if Nikki Cross was a threat, and then reminding her like, what if that's you? Every time Nikki Cross did a move, that could be you, Bayley. Just the cheap stuff. They tried to make a match out of this though. Sonya Deville attacked Nikki Cross while Mandy Rose had the ref distracted. She did try for a second attack and failed. Mandy Rose missed her V trigger, and Nikki Cross was able to get her swinging neck breaker, which they still have not used the proper name for it yet on commentary. They didn't even mention the move this time. It was like Nikki Cross got her. It was something cheap like that, and Nikki Cross won.
Yeah, the purge is not a thing. Don't worry about it.
I guess not, man. And normally this would lead to the heels beating down Nikki, but no, it was just a flat ending. Nikki won. Commentary was like, that could be you, Bayley, and then that was it. Following the match, we got a recap of Rehad's fever dream of a parade that they threw with like a 5 or 6 story freaking float of the Undertaker, which is just insane. I still look at that. I'm like, that's not real. Like, that's not really Undertaker up there. Like, that thing is not real. There's no way.
Say what you want, but they get hot for events down there, don't they?
They got the money for it, bro. I'll tell you that, man. They got that Saudi money.
They throw parades and everything just because WWE's coming to town.
Yeah. We so up next was the segment that's been advertised leading into the show. It's going to be Cain Velasquez face to face with Brock Lesnar. It didn't happen, and they said face way too many times in this segment, especially Paul Heyman. Oh my God, man, they could not stop saying the word face. It was definitely a Vince McMahon thing to drive it home. It's just awkward branding.
Maybe they're teasing a Brock face turn.
Oh, jeez. Shut up, man. Oh, my gosh.
It happens. I'm coming back to this show.
Oh, yeah. No, yeah.
I say it, and then he attacks Dominic and kills him. So.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah, no, so Cain Velasquez and Rey Mysterio out in the ring. Ray comes out, talks about how terrible it was having to watch Dominic get beaten down. But thanks to the people, says Dominic's getting stronger, as time goes on. And then he transitions over, but he's ready to see Brock Lesnar get beat up by Cain. They're still driving home that whole he's going to give you a matching scar. That seems like the biggest plot device that they're using. I wonder if they're going to use fake blood and make it look like Brock got busted open, or if they'll do the reverse and make it look like Brock bust open Cain.
Speaking of this, I was talking about how good backstage was earlier.
Yeah.
There was one moment, Booker, remember how Brock busted Randy at SummerSlam a few years ago?
Yeah.
He said it was Cena.
What?
He said that was John Cena he busted up.
Oh, he just misquoted the event?
Yeah, he was like, when he was in this feud with Cena a few years, and he hit him with that elbow and gushed him open, and I was like, oh, no.
Come on, Booker. Come on, man. Yeah. So they're calling out Brock to come out and get face-to-face with Cain. Instead, we get Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman comes out. He appears on the Tron. Paul Heyman says face about 16, 17 times. I don't even begin
Brock
to want
Lesnar
to.
turning face.
I'm telling you, it was bad. And then Paul Heyman starts to try and goat Mysterio and Cain Velasquez into a guessing game. Guess what Brock's been doing? Guess where Brock's been? Guess who Brock's been doing what to? And I was like, this is getting effing stupid. But when they said who, I knew exactly what they were talking about. And it shows if you're on YouTube, you already see this. Brock leans down. He's got a damn near crippled Dominic with a ripped T-shirt. Apparently he's been beating him up. Unfortunately, there's not a mark on Dominic, so I don't know what the hell Brock's been doing. Maybe he's just giving him body shots. Heyman's holding him, got him in like a full Nelson, and Brock's just going to town on the body.
Yeah,
I don't want to bust the kid's face up.
I'm sure he has busted ribs and stuff. So
that's probably what it is. Poor Dominic, though. Hell of a way to get into the business, man.
Well, he might just need him in the balls. I mean,
that's jacked up, man.
That's what MMA people do. So.
Apparently. Oh my God. Anyways, we cut to commercial, and when we come back, Dominic's in the back being treated by trainers who keep saying this trainer was definitely in cahoots with Brock Lesnar, because you heard him say, "Give me space." Like it's like they were like, "Okay, he's like, what's my line?" Be like, "Back up, give me space," and just act like you're trying to treat him. And then they milk it for like 40 seconds. He says, "Back up, give me space," like freaking 8 times, man. It's like, we get it. Like, can you change, like, just, kind of like improvise, man. Just do a little bit of improv, bro. Like, you don't
he has to have room to work, Kyle. Kane's a big guy. Takes up a lot of space.
I'm just saying it doesn't sound natural. Back up, give me space. Are you okay, Dominic? Back up, give me space. Are you okay, Dominic?
I'm surprised Ray wasn't on his shoulders trying to look at him like over him.
I'm telling you, like, the referee should, like, listen, guys, I said please back up. I'm trying to help the kid. That's all you had to do to make it. But instead, it was literally just like the same line, rinse and repeat. It was so awkward.
I don't know about that. If we always listen to rest, we'd never have pull apart brawls.
Oh my God, dude, it was so awkward. But anyways, Brock bursts in there, beats everyone down with a trash can, delivers an F5 to Cain Velasquez, right on top of Dominic, man. And
we got to talk about how he killed Ray with his F5 to the wall. That was.
Oh, I missed that. I must have been in shock from the trash can shot.
Oh, yeah, he, picked up Ray and did an F5, and instead of, throwing him to the ground, he threw him against the wall.
Oh, Jesus.
And it was rough.
Poor Ray, dude. He gets used as a lawn dart way too often, man.
Hey, kudos to Brock, man. He's done some vicious stuff this year. Had an attack on Seth a couple months ago, the original Ray and Dominic.
Yeah.
Brock's had some good little beatdowns this year.
Hell yeah, he is. And people still boo him. I mean, hey, at least he's not crossing that line where they cheer him for his viciousness,
I mean, when Brock acts like the animal that he can, Brock's entertaining. I mean,
Before the main event, we do cut to a commercial and come back, and you got Cain Velasquez yelling in the camera in Spanish. I assume it's just, you're going to get yours kind of stuff.
Actually seen somebody translate to "I'll kill you." So if that's a thing.
Oh, wow.
Jesus.
Yeah. See, this is what I was getting on WWE for, man. Just realistic threats, man. I'm going to beat you up. We're about to get in a fight. I'm going to beat you up. Granted, this is very personal, but I'm getting tired of the whole
No, that's my godson. I'm gonna kill you.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it makes sense. Oh, but yeah.
Never mind.
Go ahead.
Nope. You don't want me to.
We got our main event up next. Yeah. The 6-man tag, you got Reigns, Ali, and Shorty G with Hogan and Jimmy Hart on the side, and then Nakamura, Corbin, and Cesaro with Flair out there. Honestly, I had a hard time paying attention to the match over Shorty G's awesome new outfit, man. I love this John. Dude, you can't miss him. This dude could double as a freaking street cone or something, man. You are not going to miss this dude. It's all blue. Yeah.
I like it. I like it.
I'm not hating on it at all. I legitimately like.
Oh,
this
okay. I thought he
look.
was being sarcastic because I remember last week he was like, "If he comes out here in a basketball jersey," so I saw that, and my head was like, "Kyle's gonna shit on this."
No, because it's not like he's attempting to. So when I was more worried that he was gonna be like cultural appropriation hip hop dude. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay.
No, he's just coming out in some sporting gear. You know what? So that's different. He's not out here trying to like change his verbiage up and like throw urban slang into his persona and stuff like that. That's what I don't want. I mean, him coming out in some basketball shorts and a tank top, it makes sense, bro. It's loose fitting clothes. You know, you can get out there and be athletic.
I like it. I'm enjoying this so far. He's always been great in the ring, but he's always been one of them guys. You know, it's what we say multiple times about Apollo Crews. Sometimes, just the personality, and this character he's getting a lot more of that. So it could be great for him in the long run.
Yeah, just keep having him fight uphill battles. The match was a lot of fun, man. I think WWE maybe they taking notes on tag team wrestling and that people want good tag team wrestling, or maybe it was just the circumstances. They didn't have really any good matches prior in the night, so they had to put on a good one to send people home happy. But either way, man, it was a fun match and really picked up for the second and third act of it. Roman Reigns and Ali were taken out fairly early. The match didn't really pick up till Ali was in there having to fight everybody off, getting a ton of offense in. He was getting the loudest cheers from the crowd up until that point, and he was working a really fast pace. As you can see here, I got a GIF playing on the YouTube version, him delivering an awesome running, swinging neckbreaker to King Corbin. Once his whole offense is spent, he gets another hot tag for Roman Reigns to get in. All the offense comes out. We see Superman punches. We see big stuff from Ali. Ultimately, the match does end when Roman hits, I forget who he speared. I want to say Corbin. But Roman hits a spear, and then instead of taking the pin, he tags Ali in so Ali can hit, I think, his 450 splash for the faces to pick up the victory. I had a hard time paying attention to the match because I was trying to finalize the stream, getting the show ready. But for looking up and down a lot, it was a fun match. I know that. And the crowd was hot. The crowd was definitely hot.
Yeah, crowd loved it. I mean, they were popping on everything.
Yeah, man. But yeah. Go ahead.
With the 6 guys in the ring, that's what you expect. I mean, there's not a guy in the ring that hasn't shown
right.
He gets flat, but the last 2 months, Corbin's been out there putting on bangers. I mean, so. Yeah,
man. He has been, and it was good. It was our episode of SmackDown. You know what's weird is like I enjoyed the show. I thought it was paced well. Nothing seemed to drag, except maybe the first portion of the Rey Mysterio and Cain Velasquez, Heyman and Brock segment, where it was just the awkward, because it was just awkward. The beginning, but by the time they got backstage, that was pretty fun. It was a good show considering 3 matches were pretty much like fake matches, anyways. The opening tag match was just to serve.
Lacey's match wasn't fake. It was a smart.
It was silly. Okay, I'm not gonna run it down, but it was silly. And
Lacey has brains. All right, she's smart.
Okay. Yeah, and then of course you had the Gulak and Kalisto match, which was all of like 45 seconds as well.
That's Braun's fault.
Yeah, I mean Braun. You can blame Braun for at least one of the 3 very short matches that we got.
I mean, if I hear that big old scream and that man coming at me, I'm gonna be like scared too. Like,
why do you stay in the ring? Why stay in the
ring?
I
mean, he'll catch you.
No, I stay, I look, okay, is he coming out the ramp? All right, cool. I'm going out through the crowd. I'm trying to find myself a tight space. Stuff that's going to make it hard for Braun to get through because he's a big boy, you know?
Yeah, but he is big, but man, is he quick. Like,
You got a head start, though. That's a long gap between the top of the ramp and the ring. You know what I mean? Not to mention he'd have to run around the ring. I'm just saying, now, granted, if by the time he's halfway down the ring, you're probably pretty screwed, you know, especially because he can build up that momentum. But, like, I hear that freaking, that scream, and I'm out, bro. I'm out. I slide out the bottom rope. I take the count out loss. Braun comes out. Before Braun even hits the ramp, he comes out, and he's like, where is the guy? Yeah, I'm already gone. He can't even see me.
He beats Kalisto's ass because he's mad he's gone.
Yeah, man. And the fact that Kalisto beat him in a dumpster match also.
Let's
not remember that one. Braun's like first loss was to Kalisto. I can't recall if it's his first loss, but that's the first loss I remember.
Fucking dumpster match. I'm pretty sure it is. In a fucking dumpsters match.
Yeah.
So.
We almost got through an episode with no F-bombs. Almost.
Oh.
Damn it.
Well.
Damn it, Seb. I'm just going to cut the show. I'm going to cut the show before that's bit.
We're canceled.
I'm only kidding. But yeah, SmackDown was pretty good. I liked it. We got an hour out of it.
Quick little insert for Raw. 2 matches got announced on Backstage tonight. Seth Rollins versus Rowan in a Falls Count Anywhere match, and Becky Lynch versus Kairi Sane.
How much you think they're gonna run down the fact that Rowan is former Wyatt family member to the Fiend? Poor Rowan. That's all he's gonna be. He's a former Wyatt family member. This is what the Fiend can be going through at Saudi Arabia. Crown Jewel.
Kind of the story, I guess.
That's how they're going to do it, man. That's the only reason Rowan's in that match is because he has some loose ties to Bray Wyatt. Poor guy. He deserves better. He deserves better, man. Just like Drew Gulak, man. Deserves better.
This is on TV.
Yeah.
Could be EC3.
Could be. Anyways, though, that's our show, folks.
You could be Drake Maverick and not consummate marriage yet. So.
Oh God, we'll get to that on Raw. He's on Raw, right? Yeah, we'll get to that.
No, I actually think he's on SmackDown.
Damn, I can't keep up with that stuff anymore.
Well,
Thank you, guys. That's our show. Thank you for joining us. If you haven't already, make sure to like and subscribe on YouTube. We come up with at least 4 shows a week. We're working on a 5th one for extra content. Head over to Twitter and vote. Right now it's between weekly news recaps, diving into a deep dive into famous feuds, or underutilized, a special show where we highlight the what could have been with current and past mid-card talent had things worked out differently and they received big pushes or didn't get injured. Those pivotal moments that kept them from breaking the proverbial glass ceiling. Once again, this is Kyle. I got Sebastian over there. Tune into us, I don't know, Tuesday, whenever we recap Raw next. Thank you, guys. We'll see you next time.
Krusty Krab pizza.